Juraj Slafkovsky is poised to have a monster season, but not every insider thinks so. We'll be breaking down an article that kind of shows him some disrespect. Plus, the Habs' first rookie showcase game is tonight. We'll be going through the lineups and who you should be watching out for on this edition of Habs Digest. Jesse, let's dive in first to a bit of news about a Habs prospect who was given the captaincy recently. That's right, it's Bogdan Konyushkov, playing for Torpedo Nizhny Novgorod in Russia. A video surfaced of him on Instagram, on his Instagram story, skating around with the C on his chest. A quick reminder, Bogdan Konyushkov is one of the leading minutes getter. For a guy his age, he's leading the team in minutes of people 20 or younger on his team in the KHL, a league that's notorious for oftentimes not playing rookies. He's getting a ton of minutes, and he branded the C on his chest today, Jesse. I know we said the Habs are breeding a culture of winners and leaders, but this is starting to get to another level.
Absolutely, out of the blue, 20 years old, becoming, a captain in the KHL, absolutely unreal. For a guy that's far away, Josh, we seem to be talking about him quite a bit. He's making news, he's making waves. And what I find is funny, if ever you get a chance, Habs Digest fans, is go take a look at a picture of him. He looks a little bit scary.
He does.
And you got to think, if ever him and Xhekaj just somehow they were on a pairing together, just how intimidating, how scary that would be for the opposition. So I'm not ruling it out because I'm here for that and I want to see it.
Yeah, and again, a quick reminder to everyone, if you haven't seen our other videos about Bogdan Konyushkov, he's still in the KHL for another 4 seasons. He has this season plus a 3-year extension. So if he is to join the Canadiens, it's not going to be for a while. But Jesse, just a quick note, how cool is it that we have so many players that are clearly known as team leaders from such a young age, from Nick Suzuki to Cayden Guhle to now Bogdan Konyushkov, even guys like Owen Beck, right? It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and I think that the team, just the management, our scouts, and are doing a really great job of kind of being able to spot that. As we know, a couple of our scouts were really big on Bogdan Konyushkov kind of coming into this draft. They wanted him. They knew his leadership abilities that he has. And that's just such an important thing, right? Because, they really don't grow on trees. So the more you can get, obviously it's a huge benefit to your team.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're going to take that and transition. You mentioned a pairing with a Xhekaj, right? A nice big pairing. Well, we got a bit of an insane lineup to break down here. So if you guys didn't know, the Habs Rookie Showcase is tonight. And by the time you're watching this video, in fact, it's probably already started or might be over depending when you're watching it. But regardless, it's important. If you didn't know about it, go look it up right now. Today is the jour de match. It's game day tonight, 7 p.m. The Tournoi de Recrues 2023 Prospects Challenge, Habs versus Sabres. And let's take a look at the Habs lineup, Jesse. Oh boy, is it juicy. Definitely, I would say the best lineup in this tournament. Emil Heineman, Owen Beck, and Joshua Roy on the top line. Sean Farrell, Riley Kidney, Michar on the second. Third line, Simoneau, Mishak, and Guindon. But the fourth line, Jesse. Florian Xhekaj, big boy. Jared Davidson, small, skilled forward. And Parker Jones, who is a 6'7" defenseman playing wing alongside Xhekaj. Not to mention the defenders in Reinbacher and Trudeau and our 2 best goalie prospects, not named Jacob Fowler, Dobesh and Miller in net. So this is just a crazy lineup. And to me, there's a few guys we really need to watch. It's going to be insane seeing David Reinbacher finally in action alongside William Trudeau, who worked his way up to be one of the Rockets' best defensemen last year. But also we're going to see Florian play a few minutes. But Jesse, I think that top line is it's going to be a show.
I really think they got that first line right. I love to see Joshua Roy there on that first line on the right wing. And then we have Emil Heineman on the left wing, and then centered by the faceoff master himself and Owen Beck. I'm really looking forward to being able to watch that game and see them all play together. Obviously Emil Heineman has been impressing a lot of players and even some NHLers right now, even some players that are on the team right now, just with his shot and everything else. But you have to feel like Mailloux is ready to go. Obviously Reinbacher has just been skating literally like the wind, just in whatever videos I'm just seeing of him at prospect camp right now. He is looking so good, so mobile, very big out there. So that's amazing to see. Another guy who I'm looking forward to seeing tonight, who's also just impressed me in interviews, is Sean Farrell. Obviously, just such an intelligent player. And you have to feel like once he kind of figures out the game, once he really understands the NHL game, he might be a very dangerous player out there.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think that Farrell has like multiple games under his belt at the NHL level. It's like a little
Yeah.
strange, but he's one of the most experienced in this tournament. The Habs have a lot of very experienced guys, a lot of guys that project to be very solid AHL players. But Jesse, you mentioned Logan Mailloux, and he's a guy I wanted to mention too. You gotta think if you're Logan Mailloux coming into this prospect camp, you were the Habs' top right D prospect, one of their top defense prospects, regardless. And then you see the Habs go spend their 5th overall pick on David Reinbacher. He immediately jumps ahead of you in the depth chart. He's ahead of you in this prospect challenge. You gotta think Mailloux is going to be in there to put on a show tonight if he can, because it sure seems like he probably has a lot to prove now with David Reinbacher ahead of him.
Yeah, he missed a lot of hockey. And when you're a hockey player, and despite the circumstances, like when you're not playing, right, it just kind of eats you alive of not being able to do that. So you've got to feel in a certain way that maybe this situation, it's just kind of furthered his determination, his will, and not taking for granted just the opportunity to lace up the skates and go out and play hockey and have fun with your friends and everything else like that. So you can tell just in the interviews that he's ready to go. He's got a smile on his face. He's really happy just to be there, and putting on that Canadiens jersey for the first time is obviously a really huge thing for him. So you could maybe expect a big game from him as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And again, depending when you're watching this video, it might not have started yet. It might have started already, or it might have finished, depending when you're watching. Let us know in the comments. So we're definitely going to be covering the results of this tomorrow. But, Jesse, there's one guy that's not on this roster that we got to talk a bit about. And it's a guy we talk about a lot, and it's Juraj Slafkovsky. And to be honest, I think he was quite disrespected in a recent Sportsnet mailbag article. Let's take a look. They talk about Slafkovsky's potential point production. They say he's a mystery, which is true. Predicting his production for 23-24 is tough. I completely agree. I wouldn't go any higher than 40 points in a best-case scenario, and even that seems unlikely because the Habs don't have a ton of talent up front for Slafkovsky to play with. Outside of Suzuki, Caufield, and Dach, things start to get pretty thin. They mentioned he'd benefit with some power play time, and they say he's not a generational talent like some other first overall picks in the past 10 years. It's going to take some time. I take issue with a few things. Generational talent, I feel like you can really only apply that to Connor Bedard, at least of recent drafts. So it's like, I don't really understand why that's kind of a big negative thing. Again, he has the youngest player in these drafts to have his experience. At his size, again, we've shown stats before where his production at his size at the age of 18 is unprecedented in the NHL. And to say that there's no one outside of Dach and Suzuki that can really feed him the puck, we have Sean Monahan, and they've showed incredible chemistry together. To cap him at 40 points, Jesse, look, I understand he's still young. And is it a realistic outcome? Yeah, sure, between 30 and 40 points. But to cap him there, I just feel like it's a bit disrespectful.
Well, he has the potential to become a Joe Thornton, but that actually wins the cup, right? We know Joe Thornton, his first year in the NHL, not a great year production-wise. Of course, Slafkovsky had a lot of injuries to deal with, but I think that this season, I guarantee at least 60 to 65 games. I think he is really focused, right? He's really focused on being healthy. That's going to come as a result of this. Obviously, because of playing so much more games, I don't think, like he said, saying that 40 points is kind of unlikely. I wouldn't say it's unlikely. It would be good, but I think it's definitely within the wheelhouse of possibilities. 20 goals, 20 assists, over the course of the season. I think that, he could get that done. And I think one of the main reasons of why I think he's capable of that, which would be a great, sophomore season, is remember last time, Josh, when he was coming into camp, he had actually gained weight compared to at the draft coming into camp. So this year he's coming in much leaner. It's kind of the reverse this year. And I just feel like just kind of that increase in pace that he's going to get from just being a couple pounds lighter is really just going to increase into the amount of touches that he gets. And as a result, as a young player, right, those touches are so important. Just getting those touches more because of that quicker pace, getting into those open spaces more, I think is going to lead to very much an increased season for him.
I think those are all excellent points. And yeah, look, let's be realistic. Is he going to go out and put up 60 points? Probably not. But because we just don't know, it is really hard to predict. But I think capping him at 40, especially if he can show that he's got some solid talent early in the season, which I don't think is that unlikely for the reasons that you outlined, Jesse. I think it's possible he breaks over 40 if all things go right. Is it the most likely? Probably not. But I don't think 40 is the maximum for him. Depending on the situation, depending on who he gets to play with, I think he can get more. But yeah, I'm really excited for a strong season from Slafkovsky with all the improvements he's made this offseason to his lung capacity, keeping his head up, losing some weight. I think we're in for a treat. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10,000 subs, and we really appreciate your support. I'm Josh Goss for my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.